You don't need a stage. You need a chair and the guts to tell the truth. I don't have all the answers. I'm still sorting out my own. But I've learned that when we name something, we drag it into the light, and it doesn't own us the same way anymore. This is for anyone else who's tired of bluffing and just wants to name what's real while we build. Most weeks it's me, sometimes a guest. Always becoming, always honest. This is no stage, just a chair. Let's start with a story. When I launched my company a few years ago, sitting down talking to this good friend of mine named Chad. Chad and I have been friends since 1995. We've been friends long enough that we've watched a few seasons of life pass, and we're about 8 hours apart from each other, but he's pinned in one of my top conversations on my phone. He's somebody that I trust, somebody that I care about, and somebody that I know that cares about me. And I was wrestling and struggling and trying to figure out what it was that I was doing with my company, what my goal was. And he asked me this question that just annoyed me. If I'm being honest, like I can make it sound deeper and more profound, but the question just annoyed me. He said, sit down and write your vision statement. Why don't you just do that? And it really bothered me because it just felt useless. And I get it. Like some of you are probably rolling your eyes and feel like me about vision statements. And some of you are probably listening and thinking, well, of course you would do that. It just felt silly because I've seen it done and it'd be absolutely useless. So I just kind of laughed at him and told him how I felt. Told him what I was thinking. And he said, just treat it like an exercise. Treat it like practice that you want to do and ways that you want to think, and set it apart as time that you're going to invest just to check yourself. Okay. How do I need to do it? Because again, it's hard for me to take it seriously. It's hard for me to value it. It's hard for me to really respect it. And he said, carve out enough time that it's on purpose, that it feels like a real investment. I was like, how long is that? 3 hours. 3 hours sounds like a long time. It sounds like forever. If I can't get it done in 30 minutes, no, 3 hours, no. 3 hours. Take the time. Okay, I'll do it. I did it with resistance, but because Chad asked me, because I knew that Chad cared about me, because I knew that Chad cared, I decided I would go along with it. So I sit down at the dining room table at the island, actually in my kitchen, on a morning when I knew the house was going to be quiet, and I carved out 3 hours. I had 1,000 other things that I needed to be doing, but I did it. And I sat there for about 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I stared at a blank computer screen and a blank white piece of paper, and I got nothing. I wrote down nothing. I said nothing. And truthfully, I just kind of climbed inside my own head because I was trying so hard to say something meaningful. I feel this pressure of always trying to say something profound. I've got to have it together. If I'm going to say it, I want people to be impressed by it, which is dumb. But that was the narrative and the thing that was running in the back of my head. And I didn't even say it out loud. I don't even know that I said it out loud to myself. But the truth is, when I look back at it, it's like I needed somebody else to be impressed with what I was going to write down. And as a result, nothing measured up. Nothing was right. And at 2 hours and 41 minutes in, I was exhausted and kind of resigned to writing down what I needed to write down instead of what I felt like I needed to write down, instead of what I thought somebody else might expect me to say, or what somebody else might expect me to do, or what might impress somebody else. And in 5 minutes, I wrote down my vision. And I wrote down 4 phrases that have honestly become guiding principles for not just my company, but for me. They become guiding principles. They become a rudder for what it is that I do. And honestly, they're a collection of words that I say to myself multiple times every week, and usually multiple times every day. And what I wrote down was this: I want to do work that I'm proud of with people that I respect on projects that I love that might change the world. That's what I want. Those 4 things. And I'm going to say it again, and I want you to listen to each piece. I want to do work that I'm proud of with people that I respect on projects that I love that might change the world. And here's what I really love about those 4 things. And the more I've looked at it, and honestly, this came out in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I wrote all those things down in almost that exact same phrasing. And I want to break it down a little bit. I want to do work that I'm proud of. Number 1. Truthfully, I can do work that I'm proud of anywhere. I could be a janitor at the Quick Stop. I could be the CEO of a company. I could be a dad. I could be a friend. I could be any of those things and do work that I'm proud of. It's actually a pretty easy theory. It's pretty consumable and feels reasonable. But I want you to think about it. I want to do work that I'm proud of. It starts from something inside of me that says yes to it. Now, where it gets tricky is with people that I respect. That's where it gets hard. It gets hard because we have conversations, we hear people, we hear them talking about it. We hear them like, at the end of the day, I want to work with good people. I want to work with people that I respect. I want to work with people that whenever they say yes, I say yes with them. Because remember, I want to do work that I'm proud of. And the fastest path to doing work that I'm proud of is to do it with people that I respect. Now, here's where it kind of pivots, and it sounds, the people that I respect part is, that's actually my highest bar right now at this point in my life. That's the highest bar in my life. Because the people that I respect part, they don't need to be fully formed. They don't need to be perfect. They don't need to be any of those things. They just need to be people that I respect. And it's really interesting because whenever I work with people that I respect, number 3, on projects that I love, it's almost laughable the kind of projects that I can fall in love with because I respect the people. Like, I can fall in love with biopharma projects. I can fall in love with power generator projects. I can fall in love with septic tanks. I can fall in love with beef jerky. I can fall in love with, at one point I worked with a company that they made candles. Can I tell you a story? Little side. I'm gonna take you on a little side journey. I was sitting down with these 2 entrepreneurs. I think that they'd be okay with me telling this. If not, maybe we'll take this out later. Sitting down with these 2 entrepreneurs, they make candles. It's really kind of interesting. But honestly, at first I saw candles and I thought, I don't care about candles. It's hard to get excited about candles. I'm like an adult man. Like, if you give me one that smells like barbecue, I'm probably happy. Let's just have a good time with it. Let's enjoy it. But candles are not a thing for me. I live in a house full of men. It's myself, my two sons. Candles are not high on our list of priorities. But I sat down with these two entrepreneurs and I asked them, I said, why'd you start a candle company? And they had this really interesting answer. The one looked at the other and she said, we're best friends. We've been best friends for years. And we were hanging out one night. She's getting her doctorate. I've got my master's. We don't get to hang out very much. And she said, we don't hang out very much anymore. We need to find an excuse to hang out more often. And she said, so I suggested, why don't we just start a company? I was like, yeah, because you guys have so much extra time on your hands. But she said, yeah, if we start a company, I knew that it would make us prioritize some time together. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So you started this company and you make candles. Why candles? Well, I just been to this class. We talked about making candles. I thought it was kind of cool. And blah, blah, blah. The story goes on. And I listened to it and I thought, okay, they make candles. At this point, I'm not really all that excited about it yet. But they're telling the story and they're pretty cool ladies. And the reason they did it is because they wanted to spend time together. And I'm intrigued. And then they showed me their website. And I looked at their website. I saw that they sell the candles. And then they listed that they do classes. I said, why do you do classes? Well, we really like to do classes. What are you doing in the classes? We teach people how to make candles. So you're teaching people how to replace you. Yeah, sort of, but not really. Okay. Tell me how it's not really. And they showed me on their website, they have these questions that everybody answers before they come to one of their candle classes. And these aren't the exact questions, but you'll get the idea. The first question is, what was your favorite vacation growing up? Was it to the mountains or to the beach? And then it said, do you like flowers or do you like the smell of dinner? Like, it asks these preferences and almost like, kind of like when you go to the eye doctor, it's like number one or number two, number one or number two, number one or number two. So they gave these back and forth. It's like they're kind of honing in on like their people's preferences. But I looked at it, and as I was looking at it, I was like, all of a sudden I got intrigued. And I had this thought, and I asked him, I said, you said you're getting your master's and you're getting your PhD, or you have your master's, you're getting your PhD. What are your degrees in? And they both answered, I don't remember their exact titles, but for all intents and purposes, they were both counselors, mental health professionals. And I'm looking at this list of questions that they're asking for people. And I looked at it and I said, do you guys know why you do this list? Well, it's because that's what we do for our classes. But do you understand why you do what you do? Well, what do you mean? I said, you do what you do because you're therapists. That's where it's born from. I said, what you're doing here is not teaching people how to make candles. What you're doing is self-care. You're helping people to identify what they enjoy, what they appreciate, what they have fun with, what they have good memories of. You're connecting them to all these moments, and you get in a room and you do mother-daughter classes. You do classes for companies where all of their people are doing, like, they're gathering together to do a thing. You're doing team building. You're doing all these things. I said, really, this is your cover for self-care. This is your cover for taking care of people. And all of a sudden, both of them are kind of looking at me like, yeah. And it felt so good. And it was a thing that they kind of stumbled onto. And it was a thing that all of a sudden I was into them making candles. How am I suddenly into them making candles? And it's because I want to do work that I'm proud of with people that I respect on projects that I love that might change the world. They were doing that. And all of a sudden, candles made sense. Not a knock against candles. I'm just a guy. Give me a candle that smells like bacon, I'm in. But it's just not a priority for me. But all of a sudden, it became really interesting because work that I'm proud of with people that I respect on projects that I love. All of a sudden, I fell in love with this project because it felt meaningful. And I want to touch on the little fourth point that might change the world. It sounds really high. It sounds really mighty. It sounds really profound. It sounds really deep. It sounds like all these things that should make us puff out our chests. But the reality is, changing the world might not be curing world hunger. Changing the world might be the owner of a restaurant who takes care of his people. That might be changing the world. Changing the world is when a friend loses a parent, someone passes away. Changing the world might be showing up with dinner. Changing the world might be a million very intentional small moments that help people make it. I need more of that. I had a conversation years ago with a guy who was a headmaster of a private school. And they wanted to do advertising. And he was sitting here telling me about all the awards that they've gotten, all the articles that have been written about them, how they got written up in the Harvard Review and written up in this, written up in this, written up in this. He talked about all these things. And I'm sitting there as a dad listening to everything he's talking about. And at some point, I just stopped him and I said, all that is awesome. I don't care about any of it. And he kind of stopped and took a step back. And he's somebody that I've known for a long time. We're friends. But he kind of looked at me. He's like, what do you mean? I said, what matters? What is it that matters about what you do? And we sat there for a few minutes and we talked through all these kinds of things. And he kind of started honing in on the things that really awakened his heart. Like the stories that he told his family when he came home at the end of the day. The things that he told his friends, the things that he told people, the things that really motivated and drove him. And I told him, I said, let's simplify this campaign that you want to do. Let's make it really simple. Because as a dad, you know what I want to hear? It's great that you got wrote up in the Harvard Journal. It's great that you have all these articles. It's great that you have all this notoriety. It's great that you've done all these things. But what I need at the end of the day is I need a teacher to look me in the eye and say, I care about the success of your children. I care about the future of your children. I care about more than grades. I care about their fulfillment. That's the true thing. When I started writing my 4 things, work that I'm proud of with people that I respect on projects that I love that might change the world. When I wrote down all those things, the biggest hindrance to it was I thought I was trying to write what everybody would be impressed by instead of what was really true. And the funny thing is, when I wrote the thing that was really true, 4 years later, I'm still using it. And it's never gone through revisions. And it's never changed. And I didn't crowdsource or ask for feedback. I just did the thing that I do. And when I sat down with the candles, all of a sudden we got clarity because we figured out not just the thing that they were doing, but the thing underneath the thing. And all of a sudden there was clarity for them because they figured out that they weren't selling a product. They were helping people take care of themselves. And all of a sudden there was a whole new level of clarity that actually helped them to do better everything within their organization. And when I sat down with the headmaster of the school, the awards and the notoriety and the articles and the mentions are great. Those are great lines to put at line in paragraph 6 of the description. Paragraph 1 is, I care about the future of your children. And I care about their fulfillment. I'm in. Sign me up. Let's go to that school. That's what I want to hear. When I hear my 4 things, work that I'm proud of, people that I respect, on projects that I love that might change the world, those are my rudder. Those are the things that guide what I do. And those are the things that guide what I do in spite of my resistance, because my friend Chad took the time to ask me to do the hard thing that forced me to look inside. And I think sometimes we think that we're being smart because we jump straight to strategy. We jump straight to what we think is going to sell. We jump straight to the thing that we think moves the needle. And we forget the thing underneath the thing. Because when we can push that button, that thing underneath the thing that is felt, not just heard. Do you understand what I mean when I say that? And I'm saying this to myself as much as to anybody else. What is the thing that is felt even more than it's heard? We can say those things. Sets us free. Gives us clarity. Gives us a rudder. Gives us a directive for our companies, for our businesses, for our families, for whatever it is that we're doing. Gives us clarity. Because when I do work that I'm proud of with people that I respect on projects that I love that might change the world, when I do those 4 things, I'm a better business owner, I'm a better friend, I'm a better dad, I'm a better human. When I do those 4 things. Because they're the thing underneath the thing. Make sense? I kind of took a left turn from what I was planning on saying today. I'm okay with that left turn. I want to feel like these things start to have breath in them. I want to feel like all of this is reaching and searching for the thing underneath the thing. Because I'm not doing this to be an influencer. I'm not doing this to be a thought leader. I'm doing this because when I sit in this chair, I'm pushing to find the thing underneath the thing. Work that I'm proud of, with people that I respect, on projects that I love that might change the world. And this is where I say it messy, or before anyone can assume it was tidy all along. See you next week.